Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talking about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right, big exhale. The draft is done. Ever since the end of the regular season, I think I'm not alone in Raider Nation and that we've been looking forward to this moment. More than free agency, more than the combine, more than any of that stuff, it was the draft. It's almost like the playoffs for teams that don't make the playoffs, right? So, overall, I think we did a good job. Now, look, you can realistically, you are only realistically looking at the first 2 days at players who are going to contribute pretty much right away. I don't really count Rodgers or Grant because they were more of like supplemental picks, but whatever. Those first 3 rounds are guys that are going to contribute right away. Now, you take a look at our first 3-round picks last season. It was Bowers, it was JPJ, and it was DJ Glay. So those guys were the guys that came in right away, right? That's kind of what we have to look at this draft like too. If any of these guys play any type of significant snaps for us that are in like the latter part, the compensation picks in round 3 or the third day picks, that's just a bonus. You're looking at those guys for depth, for competition. You're looking at those guys for special team stuff like that. And eventually they're going to start playing more. But if you get something right away, all the better. And basically, this roster is going to get turned over quickly because you've seen how Spytek loves picks. He loves getting the right guys on his team that are going to play hard and play the right way. I think that the first 2 days of the draft were an A. We got a player that was voted the best receiver at the Senior Bowl. Not only that, the guy is tough. He's versatile, plays a lot of positions. He's doesn't drop the ball. Great hands. He's a tank after he catches the ball. Tough to bring down. He's a great blocker in the run game. Just all these positives. Then you go to Darian, dude. For only playing 1 season at corner. Now, he was a corner for 2 years, but he didn't play 2 years ago. He was a special teams. For his size and his speed and his length and the way they're going to use him, it's just a great pick, man, all around. And we're going to get to a lot more of this with the press conference. But before we do, I want to make sure everyone please to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do. And it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video, which, of course, I do appreciate. Come on, guys. Be a part of the community, man. Raider Nation, be a part of Raiders versus the world. All right, guys. We're going to get to it right now. But before we do, I want to say one last thing. Don't get caught up in overall who we selected, all right? Because a lot of these players that are picked on day 3, you're kind of scratching your head, oh, I wanted this guy, I wanted that guy, whatever. Don't get caught up in that. Focus on the guys that we did get and how those guys fit what we need on this team and what the culture and the makeup of this team is trying to be. Because, look, you can't get everybody. It's not college where you can get all 5-star recruits. This doesn't work that way. The guys that we did get are athletic, they're versatile, they're aggressive, they're competitive, they're good people, and they want to win. And I think Pete Carroll is going to build that culture with the Raiders moving forward. Now, he's not on the press conference right now. It is John Spytek and it's Brandon Yeargan who are going to be on the press conference here. But forget all this stuff. Let's just get to the press conference.
Okay, you don't get to start this time, Vinny. I'm going to start. This has kind of become my tradition after the draft. I started this in Tampa, and I think it's really important to acknowledge all the people that work really hard to accomplish what we just accomplished the past 3 days. It takes an organization, it takes a lot of teamwork, it takes a lot of communication, and there's so many people involved that deserve to be acknowledged. It's not just me and Coach and Brandon and, there's so many people. So I want to start with the lifeblood of every organization. As a personnel man, I'm partial to all the scouts. But I want to thank everybody by name here, so just bear with me for a little bit. So Calvin Branch, Kyle Caballero, Ryan Gravel, Matt Hand, John Hill, Greg Ravini, Curtis Knox, Lenny McGill, Andy Dengler, and Sean Hirock, our college scouts. They give up a lot to be a part of this day. They sacrifice many things, a lot of time with their family, and we could not do that without them. They are really the stars of this past 3 days. our pro department, Ben Chester, Jordy Hine, and Jordan Brown, who do a great job supporting us as we, dive into ghost list guys and guys that pop up late after the combine and guys that run really fast. The scouting assistants, Jalen Morris, Carroll Michael, and Patrick. How do you say this? Perilli. Okay, I'm terrible at names. I'm sorry, Patrick. I screwed that up. Those guys are awesome. They work really hard. They're ready to do whatever task is needed at any time for myself or for coach or for Brandon. So hugely important to making this whole thing go. The football admin department with Tom Delaney and David Kristoff and Julia Ayers. Awesome communication with them. They're trying to do contracts right now with the craziness that happens upstairs, and make sure that those things get signed before they get poached from another team that is trying to steal them. Our analytics department with Walt King and Kunal Singh, challenging us, us scouts in particular, with a different way to look at it. We try to be open-minded. They help us find guys that maybe we missed as scouts, and they've got a really cool process that's only going to get better as those two work together. Our security team, Bob and Ron, who go through hundreds of reports and backgrounds on players to make sure that we're adding the right kind of people to this organization. We're not caught off guard by any indiscretions out there. So we appreciate them. The equipment staff, Bobby, Adam, Mo, John, Devontae, and Nick, who helped put on that local pro day. We got 30-something guys in the building and getting that all set up. Our film department, Jason, Craig, Caleb, and Nelson, who make sure we have all the video needed to scout, to watch, to evaluate whenever we need. 2 pages, you didn't think that, did you, Vinny? Our operations department, Derek, Daniel, Chesney, Carter, and Danny, who helped organize everything, get Ashton in town yesterday, pick him up, make him feel warm and loved. So we appreciate them. Big shout out to our medical staff, Chris Cortez, Drew Pittman, Tim Harkins, Lamar Mosley, Scotty Touche, Alex Guerrero, and all of our doctors who pour through, how many we do this year? 400? Yeah, more. 400 medical reports to make sure there's nothing caught off guard. We got guys show up that aren't healthy. So appreciate them for sure. In the cafeteria, in the meal room, Angie and Ricky, who kept us extremely well fed the past 3 days. Yeah. Did you guys get some of that food too? Yeah, fantastic. They all did that. Ricky called his shot last week. He was like Jake Taylor in Major League. So he delivered. So we appreciate them. I mean, I gotta have to diet all week next week and work out, but appreciate them all making us feel happy. Our coaching staff, Pete, Chip, PG, Tom, all the coaches on down. I thought it was an awesome collaboration with them as we're kind of getting to know each other. Lots of great communication. Impossible to feel like you have a good draft if you don't have great teamwork between the personnel staff and the coaches, and critical to our successes going forward. So I felt like it was awesome experience with them. A couple more shout outs. Brandon right here. He worked his ass off trying to get this thing lined up. I thought he did an awesome job. No detail too small for him. So many props to him for doing a great job. Good job, brother. Mark Thews joined me from Denver, kept me sane, kept me kind of pointed in the right direction. So really appreciate him and all the strategy he put together. And then our guy, John Barnett, who kind of keeps everything together upstairs. He's critically important to what we try to get done on a day-to-day basis. And really appreciate you, JB. I think probably up there watching. And then before I turn it over to Brandon here, and I'm going to sit here and support him, but you guys ask him the questions. It's his time. I always like to kind of give people an idea of how many reports and how much work was done to pick 11 players and sign another 15 more. We wrote 1,497. We evaluated 1,497 players this year, and we did 3,902 total reports on those players. So really an amazing amount of work to get 26 new men into the Raiders organization. But you've got to do that to find the right ones. And, we're really confident that we did a great job this week, and we're excited to get these guys here. So appreciate you listening to me name all those people off, but many thanks to all of them. We could not do this without everyone's help. With that, I'll open it up for questions for Brandon, but I'm just going to sit here and support him, okay? Go ahead, Vinny. How do you always get to answer the first question? Ask the first question.
It happens.
Okay.
But when I hear that, I think of professionalism, because when you have a changeover, Brandon, like you guys experienced in January, there could be uneasiness, there could be awkwardness, but there's also a job to do. Can you kind of talk about the professionalism in the building to just, okay, this is what the situation is, let's keep moving forward and staying focused on a goal?
Yeah, appreciate the question. Before I get to that, nice to meet you guys, first off. Usually they lock me in the draft room or my office. So my first time meeting you guys, so I appreciate you having me. It's been a smooth transition, to be honest. Spy's been great. Pete's been great. I think we have great alignment between the two floors, second floor, third floor. I think we have a shared vision, and Coach Carroll's made it very clear, like, what the foundation of this program's built on, and he's probably stressed that to you too. So it helps us as scouts to identify what we're looking for. And then Spy just has been great to work with. We have a lot of close shared friends, mutual friends and influences, and kind of come from the same foundation of scouting too. So that's been a really smooth transition. I'm grateful to them too for giving me an opportunity to stay through this and earn my way here and look forward to the future with the Raiders.
Brendan, when you looked at JJ Piggy, I think is how you
There you go. You
pronounce
got
it.
it right.
I mean, you watch him and he's at that size, over 300 pounds, jumping over piles like Billy Sims. Just talk about his athleticism, if you would, and just kind of how you thought it fits what PG and Pete want to do, please.
Yeah, great question. Unique player for sure. You look at his career path, they really moved him around a lot his first couple of years at Ole Miss. He's a local guy from Oxford, which is kind of cool too. Played some tight end, played some fullback, then kind of made the transition to full-time defensive tackle this year, really last year. This year, you watch the tape, it's unique. He's playing on the end, he's playing inside, he's over the nose, and then he's obviously playing the short yardage fullback, wildcat quarterback, tight end. Unique athletic traits. We'll see what he does for us. Excited about having him here.
And when you look at, the two guys that you drafted from the FCS level, and Cam and Tommy, how much of, pride do you take in being able to scout those smaller school guys and bring them in and have confidence in, your coaching staff and your ability to be able to develop them?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a credit to our scouts, really. The guys who did those two areas. Greg Ruvini does North Dakota State, and then Matt Hand does Montana State. But I think the common theme between those two guys, they're winners. They faced each other in the national championship game. Both athletic guys, competitive, tough, hard-nosed, and they've led their teams for a bunch of years now. And to specifically to your question, like, we go everywhere. Our scouts hit the road all fall. We visited both those schools. We've sent national scouts to both those schools too. Credit to Lenny McGill, who was over the top of those schools too. So we cover them all the same. Obviously, you're going to visit the FBS schools 2 to 3 times each scout. The FCS schools, we still devote a lot of attention to those. And those two programs in particular are really good programs too.
Hey, Brandon, this is Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. Speaking on Tommy specifically, I know at his pro day he also did some drills at receiver and returner. Do you guys sort of view him as a quarterback only, or is he a guy that can move around good?
Yeah, I wouldn't pigeonhole him right now. I would say we view him as a receiver that's going to have a lot of value in the kicking game, potentially as a returner, as a cover player. Maybe he plays some quarterback too. We're looking really as an athlete/receiver, but he's a unique guy. I mean, his testing numbers were through the roof. 4.41, 40, really high vertical jump. His testing was outstanding. Yeah, he threw routes, and then he also ran routes too at the pro day. So I don't want to pigeonhole him necessarily, but we think he can do a variety of things.
Those guys share some traits. Sorry, out of the Las Vegas Review Journal. Those guys share some traits that several of your prospects that you drafted share, and that they're in college for a long time. I know it's a unique time right now with NIL guys staying around, but how much was that something you looked at in terms of guys that have really stayed around and developed their skills more and are more ready to play right now, maybe?
Yeah, I think those guys have a proven track record of production and winning. I'm not as focused on the age necessarily, and I'm more focused on the traits, the personal character, the football character, the intangibles with those guys, and those guys have had great careers, respectively.
Kevin Bollinger, Fox 5 Vegas. When you're done with the draft and you're looking for the 15 UDFAs, what are you looking for with that group as you get them signed?
Yeah, that's a good question. Guys that'll be competitive to make our team and make our practice squad. We have really good process where our scouts each handle a position. They work with our position coaches. They watch the list of guys that we project to be undrafted or late round picks. And we have a vision for those players that we sign. And ultimately we think they're going to make our roster better. They're going to be competitive to be here and make our team, or at worst make our practice squad. That's the intention.
And Cody Lindenburgg is a guy that, I mean, you put on the tape, he's coaching other guys on the field, putting them in position. Kind of stole him in the 7th round. He slipped a little bit. What is it? How do you see him fitting into this Patrick Graham defense?
Yeah, I think he's a great fit. He was a green dot guy from Minnesota. He's played a lot of football for them. He's a high character, high intangible guy. He's tough. He's competitive. I think he's got really good value in the kicking game too. So I think he's going to be a good addition to that room.
Brandon, you talk about traits, and Dante Thornton is a 6'5", 4'3" guy that pretty much speaks for itself. But coming from a program where their offense is a little bit different than maybe some other offenses, and maybe the wide receivers aren't asked to do what other wide receivers are, how do you kind of separate those two components?
Yeah, we joked, Mark joked that was the Al Davis pick of this draft. The height, weight, speed, raw traits, athleticism, speed. And I think it's just focusing on what he can do and what he can be. I mean, he's a 4'3", low 4'3" guy. He's 6'4" plus, 200-something pounds, big-time five-star recruit, goes to Oregon, then goes to Tennessee. You watch his target tape, I think it's pretty impressive and we think he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. We think he can still refine and improve under our coaches, but he definitely has physical traits that are outstanding.
He better improve.
Do you see him, do you see him eventually being a full route tree guy?
Yeah, I wouldn't limit his potential at all. I think we believe in what he can be, and he's got some unique qualities in terms of his size and speed. I think that will help him have an immediate impact, and I think he can grow from there.
Would you talk about the upside of Tonka Heavyweight, please?
Yeah, Tonka's another unique guy. He's played a lot of different spots for them. He can play 3 technique, 5 technique, big end. He's got interior rush ability. He plays the run well. Definitely another guy that tested really well, ran sub 5. Unique player that has some position flexibility, and another high intangible guy.
Brandon, I believe you've been through 3 different regimes now. It's hard to speak about the past, but with this current group, how have you kind of seen the collaboration kind of between the scouting side and the coaching staff play out?
Yeah, it's been great. Like I kind of started with, Pete's got this very clear vision for the type of guys he wants and the type of team we want to be. And I don't want to speak for Spy, but like their relationship's awesome. It's been really cool to watch and be a part of, especially over the last month or so here with Pete. I think we know exactly what we're looking for, and it turns us in the right path, and we press the gas and kind of look for those guys and prioritize that in our process.
You guys have been doing this a long time. Have you ever come across a defensive lineman that you think could also help you in short yardage situation, A, and B? I know Pete likes to throw guys into the fire. Is that the way it's going to be with him, or do you balance that a little bit, not wanting to put too much on his plate early?
I don't know. Have you seen a defense tackle with?
Vita Vea caught a touchdown pass in 2019 in Atlanta, so yes. Yeah. Not to talk about other players.
We had Vince Wilfork in New England, so we've had maybe a few.
We can talk about Vince.
Yeah, Vince is retired.
We would never talk about Vita.
We talk about Cam and really what stood out to you about his game. He really seems to be almost a prototypical Pete kind of guy.
Yeah, he's a winner. I think like 45-3 or something like that. His record at North Dakota State's outstanding. He's really, really competitive, very tough, very athletic. I think when you watch the tape and when you get to meet the guy, he's got some unique qualities in terms of leadership and football character.
When you look at those 2 quarterbacks, obviously this is the culmination of a years-long process, but when did they specifically enter your radar as potential pro prospects?
Yeah, both are probably last year at this time. Both guys got on our radar. Again, both from very successful programs, high production. So we had awareness of those guys at least a year ago, and we started the process on them really like summer, I would say.
I guess as you're narrowing down this and knowing that you like both of them, obviously you drafted both of them, going back and watching that championship game, how fun was that? And I guess on top of that, like they've had a long rivalry, and you're talking to both of them through this time. Do you speak to one about the other one and say, what did you see from him and get some insight?
Yeah, I guess Cam probably enjoyed that last game a little more than Tommy, but no, I don't think we necessarily ask him about that. We ask him about their experience and what that game was like and what it meant to them, and we spent a lot of time with both guys through the process. I don't know if I necessarily asked them about each other, but we spent a lot of time with both and feel good about both guys.
I know John said pre-draft, at the end of the draft, every team is happy and felt they had a great draft. Now that you're done, do you guys feel like you accomplished everything that you wanted to get done in these 3 days?
Can I go real quick? We didn't trade today, so I felt like we missed a chance there. But other than that, I'll let him speak to that.
Yeah, it was interesting. There's a couple things I'll point to. We drafted a player from each of our 6 areas, which I thought was cool. Each of our 6 areas that Spy mentioned. And then we drafted players at like every position. So I thought it was a really well-rounded, competitive, and Mark's like, it was a fast draft class, which Mark appreciated too.
Brandon, Besh, 1 drop last year. Porter, no PIs, even though he's just making a switch. Competitive guys, but successful. How much does that go into your scouting when you're giving John reports? You know, no PIs here, only 1 drop, those type of little intangibles.
Yeah, I think you could say both are dependable players, accountable players, know what to expect, and Betch's competitiveness is through the roof. I think that's clear when you meet with them and if you've talked to him yet. And Porter too. Really cool story if you're not familiar. Former receiver, bounced around, moved a corner, really high upside. Both guys really competitive and tough too.
You guys brought a lot of quarterbacks in for 30 visits, did a lot of homework on the quarterbacks. Was it just kind of how it all sort of played out that it wasn't until the 6th round that you pulled the trigger on that position?
I'm just here to support you, buddy. You got it.
I think every year you have to do the work on the quarterbacks. I definitely believe that, and I would say we started that process even before we traded for Geno too. So we were pretty deep in the process of scouting quarterbacks even before that, and not that that would have changed our mindset. I think you have to do that every year. And maybe some years you spend more time or you cast a wider net, but that position's unique, and I think you have to devote a lot of resources to it.
You were going through the scouting process for Ashton Genty, just not you, but your whole department. What was the biggest thing that really stuck out to you? And also, do you believe, just with this draft class in general, that the value of the running back is now coming back?
Yeah, we think Ashton's a pretty unique player. His combination of speed, explosive playability, breaking tackles, yards after contact, ability to catch the ball, pass protect, see as a really unique player.
You drafted a bunch of guys that either had played multiple positions or transitioned from one position to another in college. What goes into evaluating guys like that may not have, like Porter, for example, I think he only had like 600 snaps at cornerback in college. Like, how does it make it harder to evaluate a guy? Like, what goes into it?
Yeah, good question. I think that's really our scouts' job is to project what they're going to be in the future, where we think they can grow, not only year 1, but year 2. That's kind of how we define players. Like by year 2, what do we think this guy is for us? And with some of those guys you mentioned, we think there's a lot of untapped potential and growth with those guys and in this facility and with our coaching staff.
Just to add to that real quick too, I mean, I think one of the cool things about Porter in particular is the collaboration between ourselves and Pete and the coaches, and a vision for a player like that. That's incredibly empowering to the scouting department to be able to bring players that are unique like that to a coach and have them go, hell yeah, I can work with that guy, as opposed to, I'm not sure. That's not the way Pete is, and you guys will know that. But, I think that pick in particular is a testament to Pete and the coaches and their vision and their open-mindedness to whatever the best players are to help our team.
When you go back to the defensive linemen, there was a lot of production behind the line of scrimmage with both of those players, sacks, TFLs. I know that obviously this is a game of production, but there's also the traits and all that kind of stuff. But how much priority do you put on, or emphasis do you put on making plays like that?
Yeah, good question. I think the ability to disrupt in the run game and pass game is critical, especially for interior defensive linemen. That's where they can impact immediately. Yeah, I think that's important for that spot.
As you kind of read through the scouting reports and bios of guys, it just kind of stood out that several of them are academic all-conference, academic honor roll, those sorts of things. I guess how much does that play into what you guys are looking at, and is that even something that is a consideration, or is that just kind of maybe coincidence? Those are the type of guys you're picking.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to their dedication to what they're doing as student athletes, and also to their capacity intellectually. We prioritize football intelligence, and I think that's a reflection of that. And a lot of credit to the guys who have graduated from college too. Seeing that all the way through for 4 years, 3 years, whatever that is, I think that's a testament to their mental toughness to finish that with what they've got on their plate from a football standpoint.
Day 3 specifically, Raiders fans may be unfamiliar with some of the players that were selected today. What should excite them about the group in its entirety that you came away with?
Yeah, I think the competitiveness of this group is pretty unique. The competitiveness, toughness stands out to me, especially with some of these late round guys that we added.
Brandon, Pete's made it clear he wants competitive guys, and I'm just curious, how much respect about your scouts? Because anyone can watch game film, but they have to find out how competitive are these guys in outside of the field where the scout doesn't get to hang out with them. How much did they have to dig to find this group of guys?
Yeah, that's the critical role of the scout. Like you said, everybody can watch the tape and kind of know Ashton Genty's really talented. Jack Betch is a strong physical playmaker. Our scouts do an unbelievable job of getting the football character and answering those questions, and that's not hard to do. But if that is hard to do, excuse me. But if you look at our group, like we have a very experienced college staff. They have great relationships in their areas. They're well-rounded. They know how to get that information, and they know what we're looking for too. I think that's an important piece of it.
That's good.
Actually, one question for John. First draft as GM, just from a personal standpoint, how's it feel?
I'm tired. No, it was special. You know, it was a special group of people up in that room, and the collaboration that we had. You know, I'm lying to you if I didn't tell you this is a lifelong dream come true, but to do it with the group of men that I just got to do it with, and Julia, you know, Julia was rocking in there with us too. So, you know, you never know how they're going to go. The trades yesterday weren't necessarily planned out, but as you look back, I felt like the strategy that we approached it with, the manner in which we accomplished it was really solid, and now we'll just see. You know, everybody, there's 32 teams, like I said the other day, that all feel good about it, and I'm happy with the way it went because of the teamwork that we had, the people that worked hard, the unselfishness of the group, just whatever it took to make the Raiders better. That was what the room was about, and I felt like we did that. So, you know, it was the first of hopefully many, but it certainly was a special one.
You guys all set? All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Well, you know what? More of the same, man. It's just getting the best players they can that fit what they want. And they have a lot more insight on the person and the player than we do, even if we watch film, because they were talking about at the very end there, anyone can watch film. But how do you get to know these people? How do you get to know these players as people and their competitive fire? Because ultimately, that's what wins in the NFL. All these games, most of these games in the NFL come down to one score. And it's not making that mistake. It's if you do make a mistake, you continue to do your job and don't get down on yourself. You pick up your teammates and you allow yourself to get picked up by your teammates. It just keep pushing and keep fighting longer and harder than the guy across from you. And you have to have a competitive nature to be able to do that. Now, on top of that, we also got a lot of really good athletes. So I think it's been a great draft. I'm going to go ahead and put out a short video for every draft selection, and I'm going to try to do the UDFAs as well. But for right now, it's my time for tonight. Make sure everyone please to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel, besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video, which, of course, I always do appreciate. Come on, guys. Come on. Be a part of the community here, Raider Nation with Raiders versus the World, because we can do everything and say everything we want in here, because once we leave, it's everybody against us, and I think that's just how we like it. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Until next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.